Wishing you peace and goodwill today, whether celebrating um, Passover, Good Friday, Easter, looking forward to virtual connections with your family, your friends, or whether you're out in nature or in the garden. My name is Donna Paige, and I am a practitioner and a teacher of insight or Vipassana meditation, and I live in Dundas, Ontario. Visits to my daughter in Edmonton and her family always include yoga classes at Yoga Within. It's been a real privilege to make a connection with such a special place. So I'm very happy to be offering today a meditation with a focus on how to manage these very difficult emotions that might be arising for you during this time of vast change and disorientation and physical isolation during this pandemic. And it is very common to feel anxiety, fear, maybe panic, and maybe the variation of irritation or anger or boredom. So in our lifetime, we have never felt so interconnected. It's important to remember that what you are experiencing, so is your neighbor, your friend, your family. We're all in it together. We aren't alone. And when we can be aware that this is how I'm feeling. Oh, so you're feeling that too. There can be a lot of compassion that arises in our heart. And can we just open the heart to that compassion? I read a quote from Michael Harris, a writer, last weekend in the Globe and Mail, which I think really validates what we're actually doing in this physical isolation. He says, we're all engaged in one of the largest acts of care in human history. Each day alone is a gift to someone you'll never meet. Acts of care, you know what they are: staying home, washing your hands, not touching your face, keeping your 2 meters distance from anybody, caring for others, perhaps through meditation, caring for ourselves through meditation. These are all acts of compassion. So we are calming the mind and the body and the heart so we can make some very important decisions and changes that require concentration and thoughtfulness. And when we are really wrapped up in a lot of turbulent emotional stuff, we can't do that. So referring to this experience as sheltering in place as opposed to social isolation is a bit softer, I think. And can we actually see this as an opportunity for reflection, for clearly seeing what's arising, to recognize how we're relating to all of it? We might notice that our usual habits and patterns of reactivity are not serving us very well. And we're forced to slow down, we're forced to stay inside. And when we do slow down, our mind can rev up and become quite busy, and sometimes it can veer on overwhelm. These are times when I really rely on my meditation practice to really support, contain the turbulence, the inner turbulence. So if you've never meditated before, welcome. If you're an experienced meditator, welcome. And just a few words before we begin. It's important to remember that emotions themselves are not the problem. It's all how we relate to them. What you're feeling, we're all feeling, is natural and normal. The causes and conditions of this situation evoke exactly what you're feeling. So there's nothing wrong with whatever has arisen for you. And it really can be difficult or scary, especially if you've never felt that intensity before. In the Vipassana tradition, our task is to learn to be mindful of present moment experience. That is, we recognize it just as it is. And we allow it to be there. We don't try to get rid of it. We don't avoid it. We don't try to change it. We don't grasp onto it. And we don't judge it. Woo. So And practice is a way of finding this safe haven, this ground, this centering, this safety, the safe haven, this place where we can cultivate a spaciousness, an inner spaciousness in which to hold all that is arising, all the while we can stay anchored to the ground, like being in a boat out in the sea and a turbulent storm comes, and boy, we want to get back there and get hooked up to our anchor pretty quickly. So given the intensity of what may be arising for you, it is very common that these strong feelings might be very active in the middle of the night, and with all this whirring in our heads. So I just want to give you a couple of tips of what I've learned to do over time. I resolve not to engage in thoughts and feelings in the middle of the night. I want to be like Scarlett O'Hara and say, I'll deal with it in the morning. But if we use a metaphor, I found this particular metaphor really quite useful. It's sort of like the train coming into the station and people climbing on and the train leaves. And I choose not to climb aboard. I resolve not to climb aboard, and I resolve to revisit the issues in the morning. So to begin meditation, I invite you to bring an attitude of receptive awareness, really an attitude of openness, that you're going to be able to receive what's arising, to invite what's arising into your awareness. So I'm going to ring this bell very quietly, and then I will start a guided meditation. So find a comfortable seated posture. Be sitting on a cushion like I am on the floor, or on a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or if it's best for your body today, you can lie down. Comfort and stability is what's most important. So take a few moments to really kind of find the spot that's going to work best for you. And we want to be upright, we want to be alert, and we want to be relaxed. We offer an invitation to the body to relax. The body may not comply with your request, but you just keep inviting it to relax. And you may wish to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. It may feel more comfortable to have a downward, unfocused gaze with your eyes open a little bit, if that feels best. And you allow your hands to rest in your lap or on your legs. And just for a moment, take a few long, deep breaths. And if you are getting settled with your eyes to close, just open them for one more moment and sort of look around the room and see where you are, just to get some orientation and a sense of safety and grounding. And then softly allow your eyes to reclose. Now let's bring attention inward into the body. Knowing there is a body, knowing there is a body sitting. How does that feel? How does it feel today? Is there tension? Is there pressure? Is there vibration? Is there tingling? Is there itching or aching? Temperature? And perhaps bringing your attention to the contact of the body with the chair, the cushion. How does that feel? Heavy, soft. Perhaps the skin, the hands touching, awareness of these sensations in the hands, the skin. And you might find you may be noticing that you're awakening to sound that's arising. It might be sound in the body, it might be external sound. And just be aware of how we don't make sound happen. It just arises. It just is there. And can we open to that from the first moment that we're aware of it? Can we stay with the experience of the sound, the hearing, until it subsides? And in doing this, we might really open to the textures and the vibrations at the ear doors. How does it feel? And then you may notice that your body is breathing. And we just allow the body to breathe the way it's breathing at the moment. We're not trying to change it or to create any kind of special kind of breathing. Perhaps it's feels labored or quiet or long or short. And see if you can experience, it's that felt sense of the body breathing. And wherever it is most predominant for you in your body. You know, the classic teaching is the breathing of the rising and falling of the belly. So we can put our hands on our belly, we can feel the rising, we can feel the falling, the rising and the falling, the in-breath and the out-breath. Knowing that you are breathing, knowing the body is breathing, this felt sense, the experience of breathing in the body, without judgments, without inferences or references, just allowing. And we aren't thinking about breathing, we are just experiencing it directly in the body. So take a few moments to just connect to the breathing. And being aware that I will be referring to the body breathing as our object of meditation, but you can also use the experience of body sensations, hands touching, or you can always use sound as an object of meditation. And you just have to kind of work with these to see which works best for you. And as we sit, we may notice pretty quickly that thoughts begin to arise. And we may be distracted by the thoughts. But as soon as we can be aware that there are thoughts, can we offer a soft, gentle whisper, thinking, which really helps us stay out of the content of the thought. We're just aware that the mind is thinking, and the mind will continue to generate thoughts because that's what minds do. But we're training the mind to just not get absorbed into the thoughts. So we give a soft, gentle noting, whisper, and then we bring our attention back to breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, rising and falling. Breathing in calm, breathing out, I calm the body. Breathing in calm, breathing out, I calm the body. And each time you become distracted, just remember that our distractions are the ways that we've protected ourselves. And we aren't to demonize them. We're just to be aware of them. And the practice is, in each moment, to just bring our attention back. It's like training a little puppy to get to the newspaper over and over and over again. So we can become very interested in the breathing and how it might be changing. We can become interested in the body sensations and how perhaps we are beginning to relax or calm, bringing our attention continuously back to the breathing. So now you might allow a relatively difficult emotion for you, a difficult feeling to that you can open to be aware of. Maybe not 10 on the Richter scale, but just to be aware of what's arising for you. And can we turn towards that feeling? We bring our attention towards this emotion that is arising. And maybe again, if we can recognize what it is, we can offer a soft mental whisper of maybe it's anxiety or loneliness or fear, whatever it is. And we allow for a moment that to become the object of our awareness. So can we be curious? This has arisen. Oh, it's like this in the body. What does worry feel like in the body? Well, there's contraction and there's tension and there's stiffness and there's a generation of thoughts happening. So just be aware of that. Can we then breathe with that? Or can we turn towards and then can we come back to our safe haven and ground and breathe and bring our attention back to the rising and falling of the belly? And if what's arising is very intense, we turn towards, but not completely. We don't bring our attention right into the center of it. We bring it to the edges of it. Just to the edges, that we can tolerate. And then we can come back to the breathing. So we can kind of go back and forth like that. And by doing this, we're creating a bigger container, more spaciousness, so that we can sit in our ground, to sit with the anchor and hold what might be whirring around us. It's like tethering a kite. If it's tethered, we won't blow away with it, but it might be pretty turbulent. And we continue to come back to breathing, the rising and falling of the belly. So I invite you to sit for a couple of minutes, meditating, allowing for difficult feelings to arise, coming back to the center, being aware of the belly rising and falling. Noticing how the body might be calming, it might be relaxing. Perhaps you'd like to do a little scan, the face, the mouth, unhinging the jaw and the shoulders, the arms and the hands, and the upper body, and the hips, and the legs, and the feet, and the toes. Breathing in, breathing out. And you can continue this. I'm going to ring the bell and end the meditation. So at home, doing actually 10 minutes of meditation, perhaps once a day, perhaps twice a day, can be very helpful to calm the body mind. The neuroscientists inform us that even 7 to 9 minutes a day can really start to change the brain and all of these neural patterns. So it is there's lots of evidence that it can be very healthy for you. Very good thing to do. So I would like to close with a little poem. It's called The Way It Is, and it's by an author, Lynn Ungar, Ungar. The way it is. One morning you might wake up to realize that the knot in your stomach had loosened itself and slipped away, and that the pit of unfulfilled longing in your heart had gradually and without your really noticing been filled in, patched like a pothole, not quite the same as it was, but good enough. And in that moment, it might occur to you that your life, though not the way you planned it, and maybe not even entirely the way you wanted it, is nonetheless persistently, abundantly, miraculously, exactly the way it is. Thank you for your practice. May you be well and safe and happy.